In Jerusalem, inside the ornate chamber of Israel's parliament, an unexpected exchange marked one of the most talked about moments of US President Donald Trump's visit. Speaking before Israeli lawmakers, Trump suggested that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, currently entangled in a domestic corruption trial, should be pardoned. The audience of ministers, diplomats and invited guests broke into surprise and applause as the president turned toward Israeli President Isaac Herzog and said,
"Hey, I have an idea. Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon? Give him a pardon. Come on."
The remark, half improvised and half provocative, rippled instantly through the Knesset chamber. Lawmakers rose to their feet, many chanting Bibi, Netanyahu's nickname, as cameras flashed across the floor. For the American delegation, it was vintage Trump, unscripted, politically charged, and unmistakably headline-making. Yet beyond the humour, the words carried weight. Netanyahu's legal battle had shadowed Israeli politics for years, and the suggestion of a presidential pardon added fresh fuel to an already intense debate. As the applause faded, Trump's tone shifted from playful to presidential. He looked across the chamber and spoke of what he called a new chapter for the Middle East.
And you know, it would be great if we could make a peace deal with them, and I think that's big. Would you be happy with that? Wouldn't it be nice, I think? Because I think they want to. I think they're tired.
The line, equal parts optimism and challenge, drew murmurs of curiosity. For months, Trump's envoys had hinted at indirect signals from Tehran, suggesting quiet interest in a future thaw. Now, in front of the world's cameras, the president made that hope explicit. He then paused, leaned slightly toward the microphone, and delivered a more deliberate message.
And to Iran, and as you know, this is not said out of weakness. There's no weakness. But I'm going to say this, that we are ready when you are, and it will be the best decision that Iran has ever made. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
For a region still raw from years of confrontation, the statement was both conciliatory and defiant. It echoed the approach that had defined Trump's previous diplomatic breakthroughs, open pressure mixed with promises of prosperity. Moments later, he pivoted to a broader declaration aimed at the forces of extremism.
It should now be clear to everyone throughout the region that decades of fomenting terrorism and extremism, jihadism and anti-Semitism have not worked. They haven't worked. They've been a disaster.
The president repeated the line, emphasizing each phrase for effect. It should now be clear to everyone throughout the region that decades of fomenting terrorism and extremism, jihadism and anti-Semitism have not worked. They haven't worked. They've been a disaster. The chamber again erupted in applause, some polite, some passionate, as Trump nodded toward the Israeli lawmakers. His rhetoric mirrored the themes of his broader Middle East initiative, isolating militant groups, pushing for normalized relations, and reframing America's role as an enforcer of stability. He continued with a pointed appeal to the Palestinian leadership, invoking what he described as a moral crossroads.
And the choice for Palestinians could not be more clear. This is their chance to turn forever from the path of terror and violence. It's been extreme, to exile the wicked forces of hate that are in their midst. And I think that's going to happen. I've met some people over the last couple of months that want to see it happen very much. And
for the first time in the address, his voice softened. The message, equal parts challenge and hope, underscored his administration's belief that economic recovery and political recognition could move hand in hand. Outside the Knesset, reactions were mixed. Supporters of the Israeli leader hailed the speech as a reaffirmation of friendship and faith between the two countries. Critics saw the pardon remark as inappropriate interference in Israel's judicial process. But inside the hall, the mood was one of cautious celebration, a moment of relief after years of conflict and uncertainty. When it was his turn to speak, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rose slowly from his seat, smiling toward Trump. His words balanced gratitude with resolve.
As Prime Minister of Israel, I extend my hand to hold those who seek peace with us. No one wants peace more than the people of Israel. Israel will always remain vigilant in defending itself, and Israel will always remain full of hope.
The chamber grew quiet again, the gravity of Netanyahu's tone contrasting the exuberance of the earlier applause. For Israelis, the message carried an old but enduring truth. Peace, if it comes, must rest on both strength and trust. He went on to speak of the diplomatic legacy that had defined their partnership in previous years.
I look forward to continuing marching with you on the path we paved together with the Abraham Accords. Under your leadership, we can forge new peace treaties with Arab countries in the region and Muslim countries beyond the region.
The reference to the Abraham Accords drew another wave of applause. Many lawmakers saw in it the continuation of a vision first realized during Trump's earlier term, a regional network of recognition agreements once thought impossible. The symbolism of the moment extended beyond politics. In the public galleries, Israeli citizens and visiting diplomats watched as two leaders, both controversial, both determined, spoke of peace even as new crises loomed around them. Later that day at Ben Gurion Airport near Tel Aviv, Netanyahu and his wife Sarah welcomed President Trump as he departed for the next stage of his Middle East tour. Israeli President Isaac Herzog joined them on the tarmac, exchanging brief smiles before the motorcade rolled forward. The image, three leaders framed against the late afternoon sky, quickly spread across global media. For supporters, it symbolized unity and renewal. For critics, it highlighted the uneasy intersection of justice, politics, and diplomacy. Back in Washington, the White House released a short statement calling the Knesset appearance a reaffirmation of America's enduring friendship with the people of Israel. No mention was made of the pardon remark, though US officials privately acknowledged it had not been part of the prepared text. Israeli commentators were quick to react. Some hailed the president's words as a historic gesture of loyalty. Others warned that it could deepen domestic divisions at a time when Netanyahu's legal proceedings were still before the courts. Yet, for many Israelis, the speech offered something rarely seen in years of turmoil: open expressions of partnership between allies who had weathered both war and diplomacy together. Political analysts noted that Trump's remarks on Iran signaled a strategic recalibration, the possibility of dialogue after years of confrontation. His appeal to Palestinians, meanwhile, aligned with his administration's push for a post-ceasefire reconstruction framework, one that linked peace with tangible economic benefits. Still, the heart of the event, and the headline that would dominate global coverage, remained that single moment in the Knesset, the suggestion of a pardon for a sitting prime minister made publicly, live and without hesitation. For supporters of Netanyahu, it was seen as an act of friendship, one leader defending another under siege. For critics, it raised deeper questions about the separation of politics and justice. Either way, it ensured the speech would be remembered far beyond its intended diplomatic script. As the sun set over Jerusalem, the echoes of that applause lingered in the marble corridors. To some, it was the sound of solidarity. To others, a symbol of political theatre. In the days that followed, both leaders emphasized their shared commitment to peace and regional stability. Netanyahu's office reiterated his pledge to pursue new accords with Arab and Muslim nations. The White House, meanwhile, framed Trump's visit as a step toward a broader Middle East transformation, one that would link reconciliation, reconstruction, and religious coexistence. Diplomats in Cairo, Doha, and Abu Dhabi reacted cautiously, noting that the language from Jerusalem suggested renewed American confidence after the Gaza ceasefire. European leaders, including France's Emmanuel Macron and Britain's Keir Starmer, issued measured statements welcoming Trump's commitment to inclusive peace, while sidestepping the controversy surrounding the pardon remark. By the week's end, the footage from the Knesset, Trump smiling as lawmakers applauded, Netanyahu nodding in return, had circulated across every major network. Analysts replayed the key moment, parsing its meaning, its timing, and its implications for Israeli democracy. For Israelis, the episode reflected their country's delicate balance between politics and principle. For Americans, it reaffirmed Trump's willingness to use bold rhetoric as an instrument of statecraft. In the end, the visit stood as a vivid reminder of how diplomacy, personality, and perception intertwine, especially in a region where every word resonates beyond its walls. And as President Trump left Jerusalem for his next destination, one line continued to echo from the Knesset floor. Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon? A phrase at once political, personal, and profoundly symbolic, marking another moment when history, controversy, and the pursuit of peace converged in the heart of Israel's democracy.